Hey guys, welcome back to Swift Programming for Beginners Part 2. And in this video, we're going to be looking at variables and constants. So let's get started with your first lesson in Swift. Open up Xcode and click on Get Started with a Playground. And for now, we're just going to use a blank playground. Name your project and then hit Create. So this is a plain text editor, so everything that you write here will be saved exactly as you write it after you hit Save. For now, just highlight everything and hit Delete. So all the code that we write here cannot be directly understood by the computer. So when we run our code, a compiler translates our Swift code into machine-readable code so that our compiler knows what to do with it. We don't ever need to see or understand this machine code. Programming languages like Swift were made to make it easier for humans to build programs. So let's get started with variables. This is one of the most common things that you will use in your programs that you write in Swift. They can be used to store information that can be changed. So let's say you're building a game where you have a certain amount of lives. You might have a variable called number of lives that can be changed each time that you die in the game. So to do this, we can simply type var number of lives equals and then specify how many lives we start the game with. So in this case, let's say 3. So what this basically says is create a variable in memory called number of lives and give it an initial value of 3. So when we write out number of lives down here and click run, we're asking the compiler to find the variable named number of lives and give us the value that is stored inside of it. And of course, when we hit run, the result is displayed in the output pane on the right. Now let's say in this game you lose one of your lives. Well, we can do this because we made number of lives a variable, so we can change it as many times as we want. So let's try to change it to 2. So we can type number of lives equals 2. And if we call number of lives this time, you can see that we get a result of 2. Note that when we changed number of lives to 2, we didn't have to write var again. That's because we already declared the variable when we initialized it on line 1. There are also a lot of times where we don't want to be able to change something in our program. And for this, we use a constant instead of a variable. So let's say you're building a social media app and you want to make sure people only get a certain amount of login attempts to prevent hackers from gaining private information. Well, we could do this by saying var max number of login attempts equals some number. But this makes it possible to change this value later in the program. If you know for sure that you don't want this value to change, then you can change var to let. Let is just a way of saying create a constant in Swift. So if we try to change this value to, let's say 100, let's see what happens. So you can see we get an error telling us that the max number of login attempts is a constant and we cannot change its value. And if you look in the debug area in the bottom, it even tells us how to fix the problem. It says change let to var and the code will execute. And of course, if we do that, we then get code completion. We can also perform arithmetic with these values. So let's create a new variable called bank account, and we'll set it equal to 1,000 for $1,000. Now, if we wanted to deposit $100, we can say bank account equals bank account plus 100, and when we hit run, we get 1,100. But a simpler way to do this is to say bank account plus equals 100. And we can see if we call bank account, it now has the value 1,100. We can also store text in a variable by using double quotations. So let's delete all this, and we'll create a variable called word and assign it the text hello. In programming languages, text is referred to as a string. So when we use these double quotes, we are telling the compiler that this variable called word is of type string. We can change text the same way we did with numbers. So we can say word equals goodbye. And now when we ask the computer to print word, it gives us the string goodbye instead of hello. Strings can also be added together or concatenated using the plus sign to create a new string. So we could say word plus, and then in double quotes, world. And when we run this, we get the string goodbye world. And that wraps up lesson 2 of Swift Programming for Beginners. If you found this video helpful, then make sure to smash that like button. And if you want to see more videos like this, then be sure to subscribe to the channel. And as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.